Hello, St. Thomas Academy, and welcome to the Cadet Football Show. I'm your host, Mike Maxwell. To my left, as always, is our head football coach, Travis Walch. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Coach, congrats on a big win on Saturday. A State Quarterfinal victory over Owatonna. Final score 46-28. Give us your thoughts on the game.
I think I said this time last week I was nervous going into that game. I guess I felt, and I think our whole team just felt ready for this moment. I think our kids kind of had this on the calendar all year of let's get back to the spot where we weren't able to get over that hump. I was not involved in that, but you can certainly sense that. And I think a big indicator that our kids were ready was how the game started. I mean, they came out of the gates ready, and I thought Owatonna did a really good job of answering that early surge. But I do believe it was enough early to really kind of knock the wind out of their sails and got them reaching earlier than they wanted to. And you need those little momentum swings in games. Sure. And it's a lot easier when you have a 15-0 lead. We're going to call the game differently up 15-0. It allows us a little bit more freedoms to allow them to have certain amount of things. And they were on the opposite ends thinking we have little to no room for error right now. And it's a little thing, but man, that early lead can really allow things to happen differently throughout a game.
Yeah, for sure. And so speaking of that, so before a lot of fans even had gotten into the game, myself included, I was walking in as you were scoring the first touchdown. You had an 8-0 lead, and is it part of your game plan each week to get that quick strike or get in the end zone first? If possible.
Well, we would love to do that. It doesn't always happen, and I never want to put too much stock in just the first score happened really fast, because I think about the Two Rivers game and how that happened. And sometimes I've seen this throughout years. I mean, sometimes you get so high with that, you think that's the way the game's going to go, and it can flip really, really fast.
For sure.
So we have to take from it what it is. It was a good play. We were able to finish. And the thing that goes unnoticed, part of the reason, we've struggled a little bit this year on our kick coverage, and we got to open the game and put them, I think it was at the 16 or 17 yard line. And again, calling a play from the 35 yard line and starting your offense in the 17 is different. So I also want to say, really good start to the game. Declan located the ball. We were able to put them inside the 20. And then Cade comes up and makes the hit, and it pops right into Teddy's arms. And it's pretty neat sight watching a big kid like Teddy rumble down the sideline.
For sure, and I'll just add on to that. Yeah, your kick coverage has been way better the last 3-4 weeks than it certainly was at the beginning. So that's fun to see.
And something else to note on that, and I've recognized this, and I've heard this from other coaches now. This is my first year going through this, and man, when you're working with 10th graders and 11th graders, even from June when we first started, these kids are growing. They're getting faster. They're getting acclimated to what the systems that are in place. And I did tell you 3 weeks ago, we clearly identified that our special teams were not where they needed to be. Part of it was we were trying to steal more time for O&D, and we've taken the last 3 weeks, we identified the problem and said, no, we got to get back to what I was used to. And I was the one that made the change, no one else.
Right.
But get back to, we need these 10-minute segments to work drills before we go into our full unit stuff. And we've settled in on special teams right now, and we feel confident running the punt team out there, and we feel confident running the kickoff team out there. Right. And I didn't midway through the season. I felt really confident in our offense. I thought our defense could shut down teams at times, but there was concern throughout the middle of the year on who are we as a special teams unit.
Yeah, that's a good turnaround for our guys. So I thought overall the defense played well. They created some turnovers, which were obviously instrumental in the victory. You mentioned it already. Teddy getting the fumble recovery made possible by Cade Caruso. First play of the game, which was great, and then of course that led to a TD. Charlie Kern, I thought, came up huge with that interception towards the end of the game as Owatonna was driving, but. Maybe the key turnover in my mind was end of the first half. They are driving. They're at about the 26-yard line, something to that effect. And Patty Emerson makes a great play on the quarterback, and then Michael Kalisic, of course, recovers it. that to me was a bit of a, you talk about that momentum shift. It's a different game if they go in and score a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's 25-21 rather than 25-14. So
that was huge. Predictors of success, a lot of people say if you block a punt, you have an 85% chance of winning a football game. Okay. And who wins the turnover margin certainly will dictate that. But I think another key stat, and everyone looks at it differently. Some people say the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. And they look at that 8 minutes and say, what happened in that stretch that helps dictate games? Right. We just think that a predictor of success is scoring before half, the big one. Yep. But in that case, what we really did was we prevented the score before half. And that was huge. And I don't want to forget also, Charlie Probst had an unbelievable strip attempt. Yep. Not attempt. He got it out. We were able to recover, and that was that was another one where they were moving, and we were able to push back.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was kind of the whole game was kind of like that. They were moving the ball, but we came up with some either key stops or, in this case, some key turnovers, which made all the difference. So offensively, we continue to roll 46 points, which again is above the season average. Max was a perfect 6 for 6, 145 yards, a nice day. Chase Young, I think, really stood out on the receiving end, 3 receptions, 94 yards and a touchdown. Declan Wilson, perfect on the day also, a field goal and 5 extra points, which is obviously huge. And last but not least, Savion, what an incredible day. 28 carries, 271 yards, and 5 TDs. What I thought was really interesting is that in the paper he was quoted, he didn't even realize he had 5 touchdowns. He was so focused in on just winning the game and getting to that next level that he wasn't thinking about his own deal, but 5 touchdowns. What a great day. And then the one I wanted to point out was there was a 71-yard touchdown run. He had a 4th and 1 from our own 29. Mm-hmm. So a lot of armchair quarterbacks down in the corner where I was standing. I'm probably one of them, saying, "Geez, why are we doing this? We got a nice lead. Why don't we punt?" Other people were saying, "Well, do you go for it?" and kind of change the tone of the game. Obviously that's a huge decision. It was a pretty critical point of the game. As the head coach, do you weigh in on that, or is that completely the OC's call at that stage of the game?
That will always be the head coach's call.
Okay, great.
Their job is to call the play.
Right. Okay.
And generally, in normal field positions, at some point, Luke and Chad understand you have 4 plays for these 10 yards. Okay. That was not a situation in which they had 4 plays. They had to call 3 plays to get the first down. We were short. If it were 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, we would not have done that. Yeah. 4th and 1, right now with Teddy helping us on that side of the ball, you already have Robbie and Wags, and now we have Brendan Gerber. Mm-hmm. You've got Cody Packer. I felt like every opportunity, we always say there's segments of the game, specifically as we get in close to the goal line, we say, guys, if we start the drive or we start this first down at the 4-yard line, we have an offense that's built to average 1 yard a play. So anytime the ball starts inside the 4 on the 4, we have an offense that's built to average 1. And that includes telling your tailbacks, we only need to average 1 yard a play to score. Right. And we've been really, really efficient with that. And we do a lot of things out of it. We line up the same, but we can motion, we can trade, we can run backside. At that point, and I'm looking over the course of who we've been throughout the year and who we have in the backfield and how we've executed in those, I felt like it was going to be really hard to stop us. There's a whole other side to this. And I've told Sam multiple times this year, Sam's our defensive coordinator, I've said it's 4th and 1. Stopping this play or not stopping this play is not the end of the world. What I don't want to do is overcommit to stopping 4th and 1 and it turns into a 60-yard touchdown. Right. Everyone and competitors, when you watch games, when I watch games, my job is partially ODK. But part of it is to watch big situations and say, how do they respond to things and what's the likelihood that they're going to do something or they're not? And they are very much an aggressive, we're going to come at you, we're proud, we're a tough team. And in the process of doing that, sometimes you overcommit to things. And I didn't think we were going to get a 70-yard touchdown. I thought we could get the 1 yard. That's the only reason we did it. But what ended up happening is, yes, it snuck outside. They were really committed interior, and then the rest is out there. So we just did what we did. But there is a lot that goes into that. It's not just, hey, it's, you know what, let's close this game out. There is a lot that goes into it. And if you'll note, I think later in the game on a 4th and 3, what's our O-line coming over and saying, well, coach, let's go for it. It worked last time. No. Now we have a 3-score lead, not a 2-score lead. Right. There's 6 minutes left in the game. We've got to trust our punt team to do what it is they need to do at this point. Now, mid-season, where we were at the punt team, what I was just talking about, I don't know. But feel good about it. And thankfully, Max did we protected well. Max punted it away. We got a nice roll. And now they've got 70 yards to go instead of 30. Right. 4th and 3 is completely different than we need to average 1 yard per play. So I know that was a long explanation, but there's a lot of things that go into that. And if we don't have the O-line and the fullbacks and everything else, and we hadn't been having success throughout a whole season, not just that game, we probably punt at that point.
Yep, for sure. Well, obviously, it turned out to be a great call, and it really seemed to take the wind out of Owatonna sails. I mean, at least you could kind of hear the silence of the crowd once that took place. I think they came back, they did score again, but I just felt like it was, boy, we're doing everything in our power, and we just can't get within 11 points at that point. So it was good timing there. Do you feel like this team is peaking at the right time?
I think you and I have had this conversation as many times throughout the year. I maybe as early on as possible, what we do in the summer, and why aren't you using every minute of your day in 2-a-days? These guys and these bodies, physically and mentally, you only have so much to give in a season. Yep. And if you're not pacing it, and these are lessons learned from really good teams at the college level, where there were years where we were so spent after game 11, we didn't have anything left for 12, emotionally, mentally. Yep. I feel like our guys are charged right now. I feel like they're healthy, and you have to give up some things. You're not going to be as good in week 5, but I know I've said this from the start. Like, the goal is to be really, really good during elimination time. And I feel like our kids are playing really good right now. And I'm glad it's worked out that way. We've been relatively healthy no matter how we practice. Right. There's going to be years here where we're looking and go, we're practicing the same way, and it's not working out the same way. Yep, so for sure. Just blessed and so thankful that it's worked out the way it has. And I do believe part of it is what we've set forth as a staff. We just have to understand there's bigger things in season than winning every game, and I will always say that. And I truly believe that's part of why we're here where we're at right now.
Yep. Well, the thing that I'm noticing is that we're playing with confidence, but we're not playing overconfident. And yet, you look at the game film, and there's a ton of stuff to still correct.
A lot.
Right? And so that to me is the good news, right?
Yeah.
We're playing well, we're winning games, we're winning big games, and yet there's still things that we can keep working on.
Yeah.
And that to me is the kind of the differentiator, as you continue to
good lesson I've learned in college. We're playing with mainly juniors and seniors, but they're part of a 4-year program. And a big reason why I've made this push for us being a 6 through 12 program, right, and having our 10th graders practice with us, yep, is I want them to learn these lessons now, in meetings, on the practice field, walking through adjustments. So these are things I remember going back to Andover and looking at their sideline in week 1 going, I can't wait until we're there, when we've been together as a staff for 6 years and we have the adjustments and we have the culture. Feel like we're building it. We're not there yet. Right. Okay, we've got some really good kids here. They're making plays. Our coaches are scrapping and battling to put them in great positions. But culturally, as a standpoint, we are still in growth model right now. And I would love to say it's different, but it's true. We're still learning,
right,
as coaches, and how to work together.
Yep. So again, good. It's good. Looks good for the future, then, right? So we're already coming together. So, all right, let's switch gears here. Let's talk about this week's MVPs.
Yeah. So Scout Player of the Week was Avery Buckner. Avery was tasked with being jersey number 3, and Avery was a good jersey number 3 for Owatonna. And our defense gets the benefit of having Avery running around as a wide receiver, and Max throwing him the ball. And that is good preparation. And seeing a certain amount of speed and the way you can break things off and high point, our guys need to see that. And Avery was phenomenal this week. And then when he wasn't a scout team offensive guy, he was a scout team defensive guy for us. So very thankful. And he'll be ready to play this week. So we're happy to have him back.
All right. Awesome. That's cool. How about the Cadet Award?
Cadet Award goes to Robbie Wollen, and Robbie is another guy in the last couple of weeks. He and Max Anderson we've tasked with, you're a really good O-lineman, now you go to the other side. Right. More than anything with Robbie, you say, okay, he's really good on the football field. He's a tremendous leader. I've talked to him about a lot of different things about what we need and what we don't need. He just handles things the right way. A little emotional sometimes on the field, but so am I.
Right.
But when I look at it and go, who do I want a lot of our guys to be like? I'd say I want a lot of them to be like Robbie. He handles his business, he does his work, and he's everything you'd want in a student and a leader. And he could have been honored a lot of different times. It's his turn. It's his. He's a big time leader on this team, and I don't know, but people have told me, they said, he wasn't even a starter early in his junior year. And to the close circuit to everyone else in this program, whatever Robbie did over the last year and a half to get him to this point, we can all do that in our lives. And he's a top 10 tackle in the state right now. And we've been blessed with good line, but he has worked his butt off to get to this point. And he does all the little things right. So we're just thankful to have him on our team.
Yeah, it's fun to see. And you know what? Those guys, and to stay healthy throughout that whole time is huge.
Yep.
I mean, those guys take a beating on the inside. And so for him for all those guys to be able to stay healthy says a lot about them and how they take care of themselves.
Well, and I will say this. Our team understands now how to practice. And part of practicing is not falling on the ground, not overdoing things, because when people are on the ground, people are falling. Now you hurt wrists. Now you get ankles and knees. Part of our health is, and I hear all that, you guys don't tackle in practice. We do a lot of things that simulate tackling. We're still not where we want to be tackling. But you've got to be able to look at the other side of it and say you've got a lot of people that are still playing this year. Rogers just lost last week. I can't speak to how they practice, but I know they were in a situation where we had a lot of personnel that wasn't there.
Yeah.
And
interesting. Okay.
And again, sometimes it's just sheer luck, but there are some things you need to be intentional on as well.
Yeah, for sure. How about the offensive?
Well, who do you think? Savion.
I guess I could have just said it, but
No, he's we continue to add little things each week, and I think that's part of you got to keep your guys interested as well. We just running trap? Are we just doing? No, we're adding little wrinkles each week, which help make him more dynamic. We had to just send in a lot of his stats. Everyone's asking for him now for Player of the Year and All Metro and all this stuff.
Sure.
And I think it is interesting. If I would have said to you at the beginning of the year that Savion is only going to average 20 carries a game, I think most people would go, what in the heck are you doing? Right? Yep. So again, you've got to have a plan in place. Now, he's only averaging 20 carries a game, but he's carrying out fakes. He has 15 catches this year. He's kick returning for us. He's touching more areas of this field, and he's stayed healthy because I'll tell you, I've been a running back at the college level and the high school level. You go through 35 carries in a game, it feels like a car accident when you're done. Yeah. That's what it does. And you cannot stack 14 of those and expect him to run like he ran the other day. 20s are more reasonable, and when you catch the ball, usually they're lighter type contact hits than maybe a run. Yep. So I think we're pacing him well, but don't get me wrong. He's taken hits and he's beat up, but he's tough, and he continues to work hard and heal his body and lift and do all the things you need to do.
He's been really fun to watch this year. So, all right, how about on defense?
Cade Caruso,
great game.
He set it early. He led the teams in tackles. His production was high, and he's had a nice build. I go back and go, I instantly, when that ball popped out and I saw him hit the guy, I remember I do commentating for Prep 45 for the Prep Bowls. And I remember watching the Maddaus game last year in the quarterfinals, and he came up out of the secondary in that game and popped someone, and the ball popped out. And I just reverted to that moment when I was watching that game and thinking, It's weird. It's a year later in the same game, and boom, one of his first plays in, bam, it happens. And if we recall, we took him, who had never played linebacker in his life this year, and we said, you're moving up. We're moving you from safety. We're moving you up. It's not an easy transition. I think playing inside linebacker in our system is the hardest position. Safety is the toughest in terms of getting everyone else lined up. From day one of camp back in June, without ever having any idea of what this system is, he has been the vocal leader. He is the one that's gotten us lined up. Not enough of that has been shared in how important it is to get a defense lined up, and we're still not getting lined up to the point that I want to.
Right.
We'll get there.
Yep.
But he's the guy that does all that. So I talk about leadership all the time. I tell guys, you have to expend a certain amount of energies when you're a leader that doesn't go to your game, because you're getting other people ready.
Yeah.
The great ones can expend that energy and still be great. The good ones can expend that energy and still play at a level that we need them to. And that's where Cade's at right now. I'm really proud of him.
Yeah. Again, fun to watch him as he's progressed this season. How about on special teams?
Declan. He just, to make a field goal. And, every coach has regrets after every game, after every season. I thought we had different opportunities this year to kick a field goal in season that we didn't. Maybe in games where we were up by 21. Sometimes you're going, hey, we're going to run the ball on third down. We don't care if we don't get it. We're going to send the field goal. And then what happens?
Yeah, score a touchdown.
Savian runs, breaks 4 tackles.
Right.
I'm not saying we're trying to kick field goals, but there were times in the year we were trying to get to that. There was one time I remember thinking we really should have. And, but getting that field goal of the way, I think, set the tone for the whole day. And everyone asked, why now? Why are you doing that? Field goal put us up more than one score. It got us to a 9-point lead. And I've talked to you these numbers. 9 points and 17 points are big numbers for us to get to. And then he finished off with the other. And he was striking the ball well, really well.
For sure. All right, that's awesome. So, Coach, you're 9-2 on the season now, and you're going to the bank, U.S. Bank Stadium, to play a semifinal game against Alexandria Area. They're 11-0 after beating Rogers, which you alluded to earlier, 38-14 in their state quarterfinal. In a game which, interestingly enough, they only had 3 points. Speaking of long field goals, 52-yard field goal, which is pretty incredible for high school. 3 points in the first half, and then they exploded for 35 in the second half. Clearly, they have some offensive weapons. What can you tell us about Alexandria?
So what I know, and I want to make sure that I can't confirm all of it, but my understanding is the quarterback's a big 6'7" kid, junior, good basketball player. I believe it's his brother that was with the Gophers, the 7-footer Trayton Thompson. So I think there's a family connection. Okay. I thought I was told it's his brother. He's a big, tall kid that sees everything. He throws really, really well when his feet are set. Yes, they have got some dynamic pieces on the outside. There's no doubt about it. I like their running back. I think most people would look past him because you get so tied up with what they're doing athletically on the edges. Yeah. But I really like their running back. I think he's tough. I think he fits what they need offensively. And it's easy to look at their formations and go, wow, they're just there to throw the ball. I don't think they are. I think those coaches understand and know they need to run the ball as well. Sure. And, hey, we've got to figure out who we want to be defensively. Every week you got to come up with a new plan defensively. It's not that you don't offensively, but, hey, we run our formations, we run our plays, we might have to have a wrinkle. Defensively, you kind of rebuild. And we're going to watch more film before we make some finals, but they're good on offense. And they're 11-0. Right. Defensively, and they're good on special teams. I think they have like three returns this year for touchdowns. Their kicker, I think, is probably the best in the state. We have a good one. Yeah. I think he already has 11 offers as a junior, as a kicker. Wow. He made a 52-yard field goal the other day look easy. I didn't even see where it landed. I just watched him swing, and it just showed him hit it. And I thought by the ease in which he approached the ball and hit it, I'm like, there's no way that thing's going 55 yards. Well, it did because he made it.
Right.
So really impressed, and I think they take a lot of pride in their special teams. So it's that part of it's going to be fun. And then defensively, they've got size, and offensively they've got big, strong kids. And they've got those same kids that show up athletically, offensively. You'll also see on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be a really fun matchup. And I think our kids are going to get excited seeing the product that they're going to go against and know that, man, we've got to be really good to handle these guys. And they've played some good competition. They knocked out the state champs from last year. Again, I don't know enough about Rogers, but I'm watching the game. Rogers looked to me to be doing some other things offensively, which would tell me, I know they lost a running back early in the year. Rogers also faked 2 punts, and I'm going, you always have a fake punt if you think we've got an advantage. But when you're running 2, it's probably telling me that we feel like offensively something's not there that used to be there.
For sure.
So I'm assuming that Rogers down a little bit, but they've beaten some really good football teams this year. They beat Brainerd twice, who's always been a power in this state. So just really excited for the opportunity. I don't know any other coaches. I usually do, so I'm really excited to maybe meet them pregame and get ready for a great battle.
Yeah. I guess I didn't realize the quarterback was 6'7". I knew he's a big guy. I noticed that, and the offense does seem to be centered around him.
No doubt.
He can run the ball. I'm amazed now, knowing that he's 6'7", how well he moves.
Yes.
He's going to be a challenge for.
There is a reason why they're 11-0,
right.
And that's
for sure.
And it's going to be a really fun challenge, and they should be this time of year, right?
Yeah. Right, absolutely. And I think the other thing that I found interesting, which we haven't seen in the last few weeks, is they don't seem to have a lot of guys going both ways, which means they're going to be a little fresher. They're going to be similar to us in that their guys aren't getting pounded on both sides of the ball.
Well, I think in the O&D line they do have a fair amount.
A little bit. Okay.
In the secondary, less. It doesn't mean they won't in the biggest of games. I can't speak for that.
Yep.
Another interesting note, I got some prep bowl stuff for the commentating stuff, for the analyst stuff that I also do. They last won. I think they've only went the one state tournament, or they've last won a state tournament in 1974.
Wow. Okay.
And we won our last one in 75. So
okay, it's a little history. Everybody's
unique.
Each of us are trying to get that monkey off our back, right?
Right. Yeah. So pretty neat.
All right. Well, it should be fun. So the game's going to be Friday afternoon. 2:00 is the scheduled time. Normally it's a school day, of course. So walk us through what that day is going to look like for our players and our coaches.
Well, first to start, today, Tuesday, Wednesday, same exact stuff.
Right.
The only thing we're doing different, we'll do our team meal Wednesday night instead of Thursday, because I want these kids to be done Thursday and not extend the night because we have a day game.
Yep.
So that's part of it.
For sure.
Thursday, we'll go over to the West St. Paul Dome and practice. It's important to get inside. Our kids are going to hear all week we need to hydrate. It's different conditions. Humidity is different. Heat is different. It's going to feel like 90 in there because we haven't felt that 75 in a long time. So hydration is going to be huge. So we go over there spatially to just be inside catching and throwing balls, and then also to just feel the difference of it. And then Friday, we just met with some admin, and we'll do some type of send-off. But you've got to try to replicate game day the best you can, while also factoring in a bus ride, knowing that we have to sit in the stands for a little bit. We're kind of sharing a locker room. You only get 20 minutes before a game, not the 2 hours that you're used to kind of do your personal routine and then hit out onto the field.
Right.
And I've talked to a number of coaches this week just share with me your experiences. Now, I will say for me personally, it's been a nice winning edge being at the Prep Bowl the last 5 years as an analyst. You go down, you do the interviews, you're talking to coaches in the hallways, you get a sense of what it's like and what it's not like. And I remember I got some tips this week, but I also remember they're using the hallways down there. They bring tennis shoes in. They're using the hallways to throw and catch balls because you're only going to get 20 minutes when you get out there. So I think I've been able to extract a lot of winning edges throughout the last 5 years of being part of that whole day.
Right.
Semis and finals. And then also using the resources that we have with other coaches that I know that have done this over and over and over and said, these are the little things that you need to do. So goal is to get there Once the other game starts, we drop our stuff off. Then we go out, we watch the first half. Basically, the team that's playing comes in for halftime, they leave, and then we kind of take over and we say, get all our stuff on, and as soon as they're out, we're on.
Yeah. So a little different schedule, which is good for the boys. So, Coach, again, this is going to be a fun game to watch, fun game to be part of. I know I'm looking forward. Let's keep this train rolling, all right?
We will.
All right, Coach, thanks for taking some time to talk cadet football with me today, and go get them on Friday.
Thank you.
All right. So our cadets will play in the state semifinals on Friday against Alexandria Area, and kickoff is scheduled for 2 p.m. Now that's a little different role. It's kind of a rolling schedule, so we could start earlier than 2, and we could start later than 2. So just keep that in mind if you're going to be attending the game and/or viewing online. So the video broadcast, as I mentioned last week, is controlled by the State High School League. So this will be a pay-per-view event on NSPN TV. We will also offer an audio broadcast on cadetbroadcast.com if you prefer to listen to the familiar voices of Sam Schlegel, John Wecken, and yours truly. We will have ticket and broadcast information in the comment box below. Our next show, we will break down the state semifinal game versus Alexandria and hopefully be looking to a state championship showdown with either Andover or Chanhassen. Until then, thanks for watching, and go Cadets.